Okay, this video is for my multi-passionates out there, my INFP-As, or I think there's also -B. I'm personally an INFP-A, and I'm a multi-passionate creator, artist, writer, advocate. I have so many random passions, and I love learning and learning new stuff and doing new stuff and just diving head on into new stuff, right? And I feel like life can be very hard for us if we do not live in the flow of who we really are. And let me explain that a little bit. So I'm going to kind of dive into an epiphany I had last weekend, and I'm hoping to get this up, maybe even tonight. Anyway, because I want you to try something. So I spent a lot of my life living in survival mode. So I really just kind of recently came out of the habit. It was kind of a habit, but it was more like the reaction to life situations where it would cause me to go into survival mode. I really finally completely got out of that just a few years ago. And I realized that what that did to my brain, what that did to my body was almost like now that I'm out of it, I'm out of survival mode, and I have so many things I'm passionate about, and I'm an entrepreneur, so my business has always kind of revolved around what I'm creating, what I'm making in the moment, so it started with jewelry, and then it morphed into soap, bath bombs, salves, herbal stuff, and then I also do home decor that is not on a bigger scale. Those were bigger projects that I didn't really post much about, but and then I really felt in 2021 I had this big intuitive nudge to write a book about coming out of survival mode and coming out of trauma, coming out of abusive relationships, and what I personally did over several years to heal and move past that. So when you are a multi-passionist, I'm also speaking to entrepreneurs here. If you have a business, you have something you want to share, even if it's not a business, but maybe you're wanting to have a social media account where you share all your passions, right? But in this world where everything kind of forces you to be put in a box, we're not supposed to be put in a box. We do not thrive in a box. Boxes shut us down, really. If you're still here with me, you understand this. So what I realized coming out of survival mode and being a multi-passionate and doing things, and when you're a multi-passionate, for me, it was I was kind of skipping over. It was oh, I want to do this right now, and then I'm going to go over here. It's my brain doesn't work in a linear, it's not linear. And especially when I think about my weekends, right? Because my business right now is small, so I do work a job. I work a normal job, which takes up most of my time. So I have a very limited amount of time to put into all these different things that I want to put all my energy into. And that's been really hard lately because it's like a struggle. It's okay, well, I only have X amount of time, and I also need to prioritize self-care and rest. I need to prioritize rest because when you have all these different things that you're juggling and wanting to put your time into, it's sometimes being who I am, and if you're here relating with this, sometimes it's almost well, do I create? Do I do what lights my soul on fire? Or do I rest and recuperate because that's what my body really needs and it's telling me I need that? It's really hard to juggle it all. So, all that to say, coming out of survival mode, I really felt when you're in survival mode, it's all about right here, right now, fast, fast, fast. I have to figure out a solution to whatever problem is there fast. And right now, it has to work out right now. So in my business, in coming out of that, I am starting to learn more patience in the long game of things, right? Like, so my business before, when I was living in survival mode, was always kind of like, okay, something happened, I had to move. Okay, now I need to find another income stream. In the time it takes for finding another job, I was always like, I would hustle. It was a hustle thing. I was always hustling, making jewelry. I would literally sit down wherever I moved to. I would start Googling, okay, where are all the boutiques where I'm living right now? And I would cold call every single boutique that I could find on Google until like one or two of them would be like, yeah, I'll, come on in, create it. Like we would set up a meeting, I would bring my jewelry in. And I was always fortunate in that every time I would set up a meeting with a boutique, they would buy usually my entire stock that I brought with me. So, but it was very much that was survival mode business for me. It was a survival mode business tactic for me because it was like, I need to pay my bills, and I would sell wholesale. They would buy my lot, and then I'd be like, okay, I've got a big chunk of change. I can pay my bills right now. So when going from like that mentality, and maybe you can relate, maybe you've had a lot of trauma in your life, a lot of like things that kept you in survival mode a lot, and with your business, if you're a multi-passionate entrepreneur, because with multi-passionate creators, it's like you want to sell your stuff, right? Like you want to keep being able to put your time and resources into creating. And so like by selling it helps you be able to do that, right? So coming out of survival mode, then you're like forced to slow down, right? You're forced to slow down. And in the slowdown, you might start getting these triggering moments of this isn't working. Like, let's say you started a long game thing for your business. Like for me personally, it's been my YouTube channel, right? Like I know that I want to put my energy into helping other people work through the stuff that I worked through, and I want to help them more easily find the solution so that they're not just like blindly trying to figure it out, right? So, but it's a long-term thing. It's I'm in it for the long run. But I've also been finding that now that I'm playing this the long game with things that I'm putting my energy into within my business, I'm getting kind of bored. It's because when you're a multi-passionate, it's like you have to jump. You know, like, and if you're an INFP, you probably relate to this too. And it could be maybe not even a business. Maybe it's just like things that you get passionate about. Like, there's so many things. So it's like your brain doesn't work in a linear fashion. It works in like, ooh. It's like, it can appear kind of frazzled to people who don't relate. It can appear like maybe you're a little flaky with certain things if you don't relate. It can also appear like, and internally for you, if you do not, like for the longest time, I did not know anything about my personality type. I just recently took the test, and then I started kind of like, there's this guy on YouTube, I forget his name, but I've been watching some of his videos, and it was just like, oh my God, there are more of me. like there's more people like this. Like I'm not the only one that is like this. So it brought a level of sanity, in terms of like, okay, I'm not crazy. I've felt a bit crazy for a long time because I don't fit into a lot of I don't fit in any boxes, okay, in this world that we've created. I don't fit in a box, and you don't either. And that's a good thing, right? Like, it's hard. I feel like INFPs have a hard time navigating life if you don't really truly understand yourself, and if you haven't figured out a method to harnessing all of your crazy, like, not crazy, like just the crazy mind jumps, all the tangents. We go on so many tangents, and that's beautiful if you think about it. Like, we are not boring people. Not boring at all. Okay, so getting back to it. So now that I'm in the long game, I'm realizing I can get bored if I have to focus on one avenue and pursue only one avenue consistently and spend all my time in that. So last weekend, and this is how I'm going to start doing this is how I'm going to live my life from now on, because it never hit me until last weekend. Last weekend, I had a to-do list, and this was like some creative things, some normal life things, some things that were very active, some things that had me sitting down, focusing, and my body resting, but my mind going. And I was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get all this done? And because I had always kind of been in this mode of thinking where I'm like, well, I need to pick one and focus on it and finish it to completion before I go to another thing, that made my to-do list really hard, because it was like, it made me, I was forcing my body and my mind to do what it didn't naturally want to do. And so then it started getting me in a bit of a slump, because I'm like, when I'm at work, when I'm doing my job, my normal job, I have to focus on one thing before I move to the next thing, right? So my brain works and my body works in a certain way during the week. And then on the weekends, I need to break free from that, because if I keep that going during my weekends, then I'm living not in alignment with who I am. And there's a struggle there, right? So last weekend I was like, okay, I made my list, right? Wrote down everything, and I was like, the first thing, okay, so now that we're in this, okay, if you're with me here, if this is who you are, and this is also like, this is not a, normally my podcasts here on YouTube are scripted, because what I'm going to talk about kind of flows through me, and I have to sit down and type it all out, and then I can sit and I can get everything out in a clear thought pattern, so it's congruent, it's one solid podcast, right, on one topic. This video is not that. So this is totally different from what I normally do. And if this is why I do it podcast style scripted, because if I'm just going to come online right now, no script, I have an idea that I want to talk about, this is how my brain works. I'm tangent, I'm sporadic, but it all kind of comes back to the same thing. So if you have a big to-do list, write it all down. And normally that to-do list would cause anxiety for myself. I'd be like, I cannot possibly get all this done in one weekend. And going about my weekend the way I used to do it, where I pick one thing and focus on that to completion, then go to the next, I would feel it would get me to the point where I would get a couple things done, but then I'm like, I need to break free and I need to stop this and I need to rest, because I'm trying to force myself to do something the way that my body and my mind doesn't want to do it. So if you're here with me, if this is you, I want you to try something. Okay. So if you are also someone struggling with exhaustion, burnout, but you don't have the luxury of being able to stop life and take all the rest time you need, try this. Write down, so like make a couple different columns. Write down everything on your to-do list for the weekend, or even through your week. If you don't only have a weekend, maybe you work for yourself. Write down everything that is going to take up your masculine energy, everything that is going to be you doing. Maybe it's everything that is physically demanding. Maybe that's cleaning your house. Maybe that's, for me personally, last weekend was repotting my plants. That takes a lot of energy. It really because I'm moving, I'm like picking up plants, I'm moving them, I'm using, it's physical. So write down everything that's going to take up your masculine physical energy. Then make another column. Make another column of things that maybe you need to meditate. Maybe there's something that you are working through on an internal level and you really want to devote some time to that. Write down everything that's more feminine energy. Write down everything that maybe has your body resting. You're sitting down. Maybe you're on the laptop. Maybe you're, for me, I also had a piece of jewelry I wanted to make. So that has me resting, sitting down, and it's my brain, right? I'm working, but it's flowing through the pattern in my brain is flowing through my hands. I don't have to think. I'm in flow state. It's resting, it's relaxing. So write down everything that takes up your feminine energy. Now is the fun part. And I figured out how to make this fun, because look at your list and don't make your list a 1, 2, 3 thing. Make it like, read everything off of your list and what makes you feel like, oh yes, a full body yes, like, oh, I want to start doing that right now. Do that first. Do it until your body goes, I need a break from this. Then literally allow yourself to let that go, and then go back to your list. What's the next thing that lights your soul on fire? What's the next thing where like, oh yeah, let's do this right now. This feels good right now. Freaking pivot as much as you want throughout your week. Okay, I lost video bandwidth. Pivot as much as you need to, okay? Go back and forth. If your body's feeling a bit exhausted from what you're doing, let that rest and go do something that has you sitting down, letting your body rest. Really tune into your body for this. Tune into your mind, your emotional state, your body. Tune into everything about you and pivot. Okay, what happened for me, what usually happens on weekends where I feel like I have to complete a task before I move on to the other ones, is I get exhausted. I don't accomplish my whole list. And then I kind of, feel like, wow, what's wrong with me, right? Now, be very aware of that. If you start getting into that negative talk of like, what's wrong with me? And I know that multi-passionate people and INFPs can kind of struggle with this because we feel different from a lot of different people, right? Don't do that. Don't allow your brain to go there, right? Just be like, no, this is who I am. Own it. Own your pivot. Missy's sleeping and she must be chasing something because she has her little paws going and she has little muffled barks that come through when she's sleeping. So cute. Anyway, so like I would be exhausted and then I would just like abandon my to-do list altogether, and I would feel like I just need to escape literally in order to rest. And so what that would typically look like for me was me ending my day early. I would literally just like lay down, either just stare out the window to the trees, or like I would need something to get my brain to calm down because there was still so much that I wanted to do, but physically and mentally there was a blockage, right? There was like a wall that would like just pop up and be like, nope, I can't do anymore. And then I would kind of like, sometimes I would just like zone out and like watch true crime documentaries are kind of like the only TV I typically watch. And that's very rare, but it's usually when I hit a burnout point, right? So when I started pivoting and allowing myself to go with the flow of what I felt like I wanted to do and what my body needed, what my brain needed, like last weekend I accomplished everything on my list. I even did a couple additional things through my pivoting, and it was beautiful. I enjoyed everything I was doing. Like I was repotting all my plants, and like if you can see behind me, those are just a few of the plants. I have them all over my bedroom, and I love my plants. I love propagating. Let me show you, because I'm allowing myself to pivot more. So I'm going to show you my plants. So I started, I love propagating especially pothos. So this is my pothos clippings that I have in a jar. There's several of them, but this is going to turn into, I'll probably put all of these in one. And yeah, so I have them in water. And if you can look, this, I just did this last weekend, so there are no new roots growing yet, but this will just sit in my windowsill. It'll get some light, it gets some water, and then eventually all the roots will grow, and then I'll have another plant to pot. And that's how I filled up my room. But now I'm at a point where I don't really have any more space for new plants. So then I find friends that want free plants, and I let them know when I'm potting my propagations, and then I rehome them. So it feeds that addiction. It's very much an addiction. I propagate all of my monsteras and all of my pothos. So personally, I bought one monstera plant, and I never bought a pothos. I actually started clipping my sister's pothos that just got crazy. So all my pothos clippings and plants came from another plant. I love it. It's so fun. Anyway, free plants. That's how you can get free plants, all. Yes. So basically I got everything done. So when I was repotting some plants, once I got exhausted and my body was like, I need a break, I would go sit down and I would work on jewelry, and I would listen to an audiobook while doing it. And that felt like rest to me, but I was still getting stuff done, and I was like feeding my brain, and I was feeding my flow state and my creativity. And so I was able to like get every single thing done, and it was so energizing. When you allow yourself to flow with the way that you naturally work, the way that your brain naturally works, it can be so freeing, and you can feel so much. It's like you gotta work with how your body and your brain work. So next time when you have a giant to-do list and it makes you feel like you just want to shut down, try this. Create 2 columns: masculine, feminine, physical, mental, physical, resting, like, break up everything, like write down which ones take up what kind of energy, then really just feel into, what do you feel like doing right now? What task on your list lights you up or makes you feel like, oh yeah, I want to do that right now? And don't force yourself to finish it in one sitting. Like that allows you to feed into that like excitement and joy. That's another thing. If you're lacking joy in your life and you're a multi-passionate and you're an INFP, don't force yourself to finish something all in one sitting. When you feel that joy, that spark of like, ooh, your soul feels on fire for doing something, like just feed into that flow state, feed into that. And then once you feel that you've reached a point where you're like, okay, I need a break from this, allow it. Just set it down and then be like, okay, now what? Okay, and just keep doing that, because then you're just in constant flow and you're in constant pivoting, you're in constant joy. And for us INFP multi-passionates, that's what we want, right? That's how we want to live our life. And so then what I found was I didn't need that like extra time to just crash and rest, because I was getting that rest throughout the day when I would sit and do the things that were more restful. So it just lit my soul on fire. I had an amazing weekend. Like, I did so much, and usually when I do so much, I feel exhausted. But now that I figured out this is how I work best and I'm allowing it, allowing is the key thing here. Allow your body to do what it wants to do, the way it wants to do it. Then it's just like, you feel just so full. And you get your to-do list done a lot faster, and you don't feel constrained, So get outside your box, pivot, allow yourself to pivot, and just keep, because like our flow state, when we are like this, when our brain works like this, our flow state tends to pivot a lot. So just follow that flow state wherever it wants to go. And definitely comment. Let me know how it goes for you. Let me know if this gave you permission to work the way that you normally want to work. To like, please comment if this helped you. I really want to, like, are you an INFP? If you don't know your personality type, I think I did this. It's like this little quiz. It's not even a quiz. It's just like questions, right? You answer all these questions. I did mine through 16 personalities. I don't know if it was like 16personalities.com, but like Google that. I was able to do that I was able to do that for free and get my personality type and read up about me. And that was so freeing too, because I was like, I'm not crazy. This is just how I naturally work. And yeah, so if you resonate with this and you don't know your personality type, definitely go take that personality quiz. Not a quiz, but figure it out. Okay, I keep running out of space here, but it really gives you permission to just be yourself and like learning about how you work naturally. If anyone ever in your life has like criticized you for the way you are, right? If anybody's ever, called you ADHD, like, okay, that's a whole nother topic. Like, I could definitely be, someone could look at how I work and be like, oh, you have ADHD. One, no. For me personally, it's like, no, this is how I naturally am. And it's a superpower. I believe it's a superpower because when I flow with it, I'm unstoppable. I can create so much. I can do so much. And I'm passionate about it. And when you bring your passion into everything that you do, it's powerful. So and people who have ADHD probably resonate with this as well, because usually, attention deficit. So like you're working on something, then you get distracted and you get distracted and you get distracted. Look up your personality type. Okay, I understand having labels. I don't want to have a label. I will never put a label on myself, because then once you slap that label on yourself and you start identifying with that, then I feel like all the negative stuff that comes with that label, you start to identify as that, and like that can hinder us maybe. Like for me, this is my personal view. This is me personally. So pivoting, it might just be your personality type. It might be your superpower, okay? It might be your superpower. This might be how you conquer the world, your own inner world, right? Okay, I'm going to end it here. So definitely comment. I think that my channel, I'm going to allow myself to post more videos that are just in the moment like this. I'm also going to keep the podcast going when messages come through, the things that like I really feel like kind of what happens is I meditate. Usually it comes through with meditation. I'll be in a meditative state and then something will pop up for me and then a stream will just kind of flow through me. And it all has to do with my own personal experience, but meshed with like real life ways of working through things. And so it's kind of like a mesh up between my personal experiences and what I personally did, but then also stuff that I've researched and found, so it's like a mesh up of that, but it just kind of flows through. And those videos are going to be scripted because I just sit there and I type it all out. I can't, like, I've tried just like, it's like if I set up this whole setup, if I get my microphone and everything, then it's like it's gone. I have to be in that flow state of it's coming through right now. I'm just gonna write, like, and it's funny. Okay, I'm gonna keep going a little bit more because this is who I am. So if you resonate with me, awesome. Hello, you are part of my tribe. But yeah, like when I was younger, one thing, like, and if you experience the same types of kind of like, like things coming through when I was in high school and into my early 20s, but like mainly it was really like in high school where I started experiencing this, where like I would be in a certain emotional state. And back then that was like my high school years were really rough. I struggled with like major depression. had major depression. It was really, really hard. But what would happen is like, it would trigger something. I had like a million notebooks. I had a million notebooks, and I would just grab my notebook and I would just start writing. And it wasn't even like, it was not conscious. It was unconscious writing. And I would just sit there and write and write and write and write. And it was really interesting because I would write several pages, and it was all stuff that was, it was like my emotional state coming through my hand and just getting out onto the page. And usually I would just shut my notebook when it was done and not even read it, because I would feel a lot better when it was done, right? But when I would actually go back and read what I wrote, it was a little scary for me back then because I didn't understand what was happening. And when I would go back and read it, I was like, I wrote that? Like, how can I write something and not be conscious of what I'm writing? Like, I almost felt like a little, I'm not going to use the, I was going to say I almost kind of felt possessed, but it wasn't possession. It was like just my emotional state having to come out. It had to get out, right? And it would come out on paper. So that was how I experienced it in my teen years. But now it's like I'm a very healthy person internally, mentally, emotionally. And so like now it comes through when I'm grounded and meditative, and it's messages that I really feel need to come out, and because they're going to help people. And so I have to keep this channel going. I'm very like, I have so many passions, but I'm also not going to allow myself to stop working on all the other things that I'm passionate about. That's one thing that I felt like I had to do for a while to be able to like learn YouTube, learn audio editing, video editing, all this stuff that was more difficult for me. I'm not going to say I don't, like, it's harder for me to work with computer stuff. So, it's a challenge. And I love challenges, but it takes a lot of my time. So now that I got it down, I understand how to do it. I'm also going to be creating more of my jewelry and wine charms. And I have this other concept. So I will divulge that at a later date when I figure it all out and how I'm going to start putting these art pieces together. But it's very exciting. It's like it's a new passionate venture that I will definitely be sharing. So my channel is going to kind of open up a little bit more to my pivots, to my passions. I need to keep the passion in what I do. So, yeah. Okay, now I'm going to end this, but if you resonated with any of this, I would love your feedback. I would love to, let's start a conversation, please. I want to meet other people like me. Like, comment down below if you're an INFP or if you're just a multi-passionate that like your brain works the same way, and let's connect. Definitely subscribe if you resonate with the message of inner personal healing and diving deeper into how we can become just like a very whole, balanced, emotionally safe person, healing from trauma and all that kind of stuff, because my channel has a lot of that. So that's like my podcast episodes, videos that I post. Definitely check all that out if you are into that. And stay tuned for some more like artsy stuff as well. And I'm just going to be coming on and like sharing more aha moments, like if I start having epiphanies around how I work better, and like, because this is new to me for the allowing of my pivots, the allowing of this is who I am, and I'm not going to put myself in a box. No. So subscribe, and subscribe if that is any of that resonates. So until next time, have a beautiful, well, I'm recording this on a Friday, but it'll probably post on the weekend. So have a wonderful day.